Okay. And again, we're listening to make sure it's purging properly. Hear that gurgle, right? And then if you're blind like me, that's when you put on your glasses, because now what we're going to do is inspect. So we're going to pop this off. And we're going to look at that shaft first and foremost. Right? There's moisture down here where the water actually comes out. That's normal. We don't want moisture getting up here because it could eventually get up here and get into that red window. Make sense? So we're good. Looks like this handpiece is definitely good. The other one might not have been, but this one is. Okay. So, and then again, if it was that month mark, then you replace them regardless.
If there are like tiny water kind of specks.
Right around here, yeah. Because this is kind of, this is like where the water comes out. Yeah. So when you're popping it off, you might get a little bit of that spread.
When we did that phone call the other day, there were a couple of drops, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, right here. No, when we did the phone call with Dane and with you, when you, me, and Anna were there.
With the other handpiece? Yeah. So
there should be no drops at all.
Correct. Yeah, and any moisture down here too, just go ahead and dry it with a gauze and put it, because we're putting it to bed for the night, right? But that's how you're going to do your leak test. Okay, that's one thing. Now, the other things we want to do is check our gold mirror and our red window all the time, right? We're going to check them daily, clean them daily because you already have them out, in my opinion. But I think if you look on this card here, this is all the most crucial maintenance items. I think it might say once a week on one of those two, but I say do them both daily. One of them's daily, one of them's weekly. No need to try to remember, just clean them both, right? So let's talk about how to do that. Have you guys ever taken out a mirror and serviced it? You feel good about it? You want me to show you? I'm gonna show you anyway, but. Okay, cool. How to service the mirror and the red window? Okay, let's take a look. So we already purged. That means we know we're safe to go ahead and take handpieces off and do what we're about to do, but always make sure you're purged. We don't want water up to the point of the handpiece when we're gonna start taking handpieces off. Okay, so you can go ahead and get closer. This is gonna be really messing with really tiny little things. So anytime you don't have a handpiece on, you want this cover on, but right now we're gonna talk red window first. So if you took a look at this red window, it looks pretty darn clean and shiny, right, to the naked eye. But there may be some stuff on there, microscopic little things that need to be cleaned. Okay, so that's why we want to take this off daily, check it under the scope, and make sure it doesn't need to be cleaned. Okay? All you're going to do, this thing spins freely once it gets past the actual threads that hold it on there. So you might think you can't take it off, but if you just pull up while turning it, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, just like a Coke bottle, then you'll eventually engage those threads. And now you can feel it. It got real stiff. Push past that stiffness. Sometimes it's a little finicky, but if you just keep going, there you go. Now you can see a gap forming because we're actually engaging the threads and it's starting to come up. This is where it gets a little tough sometimes, and this is where people go wrong and pull out the hemostats. You do that, you're going to break that every time. It's a thin little piece of glass, okay? So just keep doing it with your fingers. Gloved hands, right? We're not trying to get our oils, lotions, whatever might be on our hands on here, okay? This guy's really on there. A lot of times it's just that first one, so after I get it off once, you guys should be having an easier time. There we go. Okay, so now we're kind of looking at that to inspect it, but again, with the naked eye, there's probably a lot more you won't see. I know you guys just replaced this trunk fiber, so this is probably looking pretty clean. But go ahead and put that under the scope on the daily, check it, clean it with a soft cotton tip applicator and 99% alcohol. The 99% won't leave streaks because streaks will impede the laser from coming out, right? It can make them bounce back in. So the 99% is crucial, and it'll also dry. That or like a little cotton tip applicator that you use for applying bond, something like that. Anything that's softer, right? Your unit actually, if we could find some, came with some, but once those are gone, you can use whatever's in the office as long as it's a soft cotton. And never dry. Don't use any kind of soft cotton thing just on it dry. Always wet, because that dry cotton is actually a little more abrasive than it is when it's wet. So it can leave little micro scratches. Okay, so then all we're going to do is put it back on, same way you took it off. Get past that point. And you guys are welcome to glove up and try this. Once you get past that point, it's just going to spin freely. But once you get past that point, you know you're on. Make sense? And there you go. So that's how you do that. And then, of course, you would put your cover back on because we're just doing our nightly service before we shut this thing down. And then we could work on our actual mirror. So the gold mirror, we also don't want to have little pock marks, watermarks, whatever might happen to make it dirty throughout the day and throughout normal use. We want to make sure we inspect it and clean it. Your gold mirror in this one might still be just fine. So don't toss that. It's like a $400 mirror. So if you're going to toss the handpiece, it is what it is. These are not repairable handpieces. You can't really send them in like your other handpieces that you could probably do, but don't toss the mirror. Get that out and put it somewhere. So you have a 3-prong driver. You have a 3-prong cover. Okay. So we're going to use that little matching 3-prong to start to loosen this. Definitely do this over something. And then go ahead and set that down so it doesn't roll away somewhere. Okay. You have your mirror on the inside, which has a threaded hole, and the other side of your driver is a threaded driver. So we're going to place that in there by tightening it just like lefty loosey, righty tighty. Once it stops though, that's it. You don't need to wrench it. We just need it to be on there, so that way we can safely pop it out. Okay? And then again, to the naked eye, most of the time, this is actually going to look pretty shiny and new. Okay? So get it under the scope and see if it needs to be clean, which I bet you it does. Okay? So putting it back in, and leave it on here too. If you actually went through and look at your maintenance video and it shows you how to do this, it has them pulling it off with tweezers. Like, why? This is stable. Like, this isn't going anywhere. Leave it on here when you do your servicing, you know? It does have a little black O-ring around it. You're welcome to buy replacements for those if you want, but we've talked to all the engineers and the people that have designed this thing, and when that O-ring breaks or pops off, it's not as crucial as your handpiece O-rings. It'll still have a good seal, okay? But it does have a little O-ring, so if it's off and you want to have some replacements on hand, you can put one back on with little tweezers, right? Very tiny little guy. You can barely even see it. Okay, now it is oval shaped, and we have an oval hole, okay? I don't know how it happened, but it did happen one day that somebody put this in sideways. That means they were really cramming it in there. You shouldn't have to do that. When you approach this, if it's not going in right away because you're slightly to the left or something, just turn it a little bit until you find that spot where it just drops in, right? So they were really getting aggressive with it. And gold is soft, right? It's pliable. So just kind of jiggle just a little bit till it sinks in all on its own. After that, you can loosen this. And then what I like to do is once it's loose, I just turn it to the side, because I have pulled it straight out. Even though it was loose, it still caught on the thread a little bit, and I threw the mirror across the room. So once it's loose, just pull it to the side. And then we can take our driver and our little cover. And I'm always holding this with like the edge of my glove, because otherwise this thing's gonna fly off. It's not magnetic, right? So you can approach and then just kind of get your glove out of the way and then just tighten it up. And again, this doesn't have to be super tight either. You're not trying to put a gorilla grip on it. You just want to get it down and 2 fingers tighten. That's all it should be.
So this is end of the day?
I would, yeah. You daily want to inspect your red window in your mirror, and then while it's out, clean it. You might as well. Don't wait to do the weekly cleaning like the manual recommends. You just get it clean right then and there. And get some of that 99% on hand, get some of that food grade silicone on hand, and that way you have all the stuff you need to maintain this properly. That's it. That's all you really need to know. Questions?
You want to try to do it for this year, or you got it?
You might as well. I flew all the way out here. I don't fly back until like 3.
Good. Okay. Nobody also knows, right?
Feel good about it?
Because these things are so small and fine. If you drop it, it's...
Yeah, do it over something like a tray,
Yeah.
you know. Because I've definitely had to go chase mirrors, or the covers at least. Feel good? Last things to talk about is just all your safety stuff. So we're going to sign a checklist, training checklist that says Jacob taught you this, this, and this. So let's talk about all of it. We don't want to operate this in the presence of flammable materials. Someone asked me if they could put, the isopropyl in the canal and fire it. I would say absolutely not. That's a flammable material. And I don't even know why they would be doing that. But they asked just to see, I guess, what I would say. I don't know. But that's flammable, right? Pure oxygen is flammable. So if you have a patient that needs pure oxygen constantly, when you're going to fire it for at least the 30 seconds you're going to fire it for, ask them to take that off and get it done. Then you can give them their oxygen back, right? Nitrous is not considered flammable in that way. So you're welcome to keep using nitrous around it, but pure oxygen and anything else that might be flammable, we don't want to operate around that. Cool? Safety glasses should be for doc, patient, and the assistant. It has only a 5 centimeter range, but even still, things can reflect off of shiny surfaces and so on. So we just always want to be safe and wear our safety glasses, right? We don't want to tamper with this thing and try to modify things on our own. So we don't want to pop off these little bolts and look inside and try to fix stuff on our own, right? That's no good. We don't want to do any type of handpiece changes or anything when it's in ready mode. If it goes to sleep, just tap anywhere. So if it's ever in ready mode, make sure you take it out of ready mode before you do any actual maintenance procedures. Cool? Easy enough? This should never be autoclaved, just the handpiece, not this. Kind of goes without saying, but it's still something we say out loud because apparently it was done at one time. And it should never be bent more than a 10-inch curve. That's why we try to really make sure and set this up nicely to where you can grab it and you're not bending it or crimping it.
Can I ask a question? So let's say, because I'm left-handed, and if I hold this and I'm like working like that, can we pull it like that?
You can. That's fine.
That's fine.
That's supposed to do that.
Okay.
You're welcome
So
to
if
do
I
that.
have one of, Valeria, you want to come try with me what we do? Because sometimes it's a lot of tension on my left hand when the machine is on this side. And if she holds it like this and I use it, is that okay?
As long as you're not bending it more than that 10-inch curve, you're fine.
Okay.
Or you can have it on that side and they could just operate it for you.
Yeah.
That way you don't have as much tension. It's just kind of over there.
Usually, like, I pull it a little bit closer. But if this bends, it should be fine, right?
Yes, that's supposed to do that so you have that flexibility.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. And holding it like this is fine as long as you're not gorilla gripping it and crunching it, right? Okay. Because it's just basically magically a curved piece of glass. And we don't want to curve it more than we need to or it'll break, just like those little glow sticks we use at 4th of July, right?
Okay, cool.
Yep. Okay. And then other than that, we talked about the safety buttons. If you feel like it's doing something it's not supposed to be doing, hit that button and make it stop, right? Call support. Also, if you feel like there's diminished power, you guys will definitely know that. Yeah. If you feel like there's diminished power, don't power through and power it up more. Do a few things. Do your beam test. See if maybe there's diminished power because the tip's broken, right? And make sure everything's on the up and up. Don't just up the power and keep moving. Otherwise, you're potentially using a bad handpiece, tip, or trunk fiber cable even, if it got that far. And you're continuing to use it, which could eventually get to your laser head, which we definitely don't want, right? We don't want that breaking.
So beam test is the most important to do if we feel the power's not as good.
Absolutely, yeah. Check it and see why. See if there's a reason why the beam test is or why the power is weak. Because if you did a beam test and you found that the pattern was wrong, yep, you can go in there. And you can even go to any procedure. No matter what procedure you're in, if you put it into ready mode, it'll show the beam. So it doesn't matter where you go as long as you're able to hit ready. But yeah, that's a nice quick way to get to it.
In the morning before we prime, and the day, during the day, it's fine if it's primed.
Correct. You don't have to re-prime if you're not switching handpieces. Does that make sense?
No, to do the beam test.
Do the beam test is every time you put on a new tip. If you're switching a tip, it's time to check that tip.
To do the beam test every time.
No. If you feel like you're doing the beam test and there is some water involved and you see some on the tip, just wipe it with a gauze and then redo it. Because that might distort the image. And we want to see that clean dot with a donut, right? What else, question-wise?
I think that was very helpful. Thank you.
Good. All right. Feel like you guys learned something, actually? I know you never know what you're going to learn on the refresher training. You're like, I know all this, Jacob. But yeah, I would definitely work on getting that gold mirror out, put it somewhere safe so you can still use it. Look at it under a scope, make sure it's good. But keep that, and then the handpiece itself, if it's not useful, it's not useful. And then if you want to get under warranty, we can definitely do that. That's up to you. Not everybody does it, but if you want to just get it back under warranty, it is a service fee visit, so they have to pay for the service fee, then you pay the fee to actually warranty it again. And then once it's under warranty, you can keep it going with much less fees throughout the year as long as you do it before it expires. Make sense? So it sucks when it goes out of warranty because you got to do that re-service fee thing, which adds to the warranty fee. But it is really nice when the whole thing's under warranty and all of your parts and whatever are covered. So that's up to you. If you wanted to do that, you're welcome to just simply call support and let them know you want to do that, or I could send an email if you're wanting to do that and just say, hey, these guys want to get back under warranty. They'll send a biolace technician out, they'll do a quick evaluation, and unless they were already out recently, if we know they were out within the last 90 days, that'll actually cover your warranty visit. Yeah, it's not usually likely that they're out in the last 90 days, but that is something you could do. So we are purged right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down if you're not gonna be using it.
Okay. Yeah, well, so it's good to be used now, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, you can absolutely, this handpiece seems to be working fine. The leak test passed with flying colors, so you're welcome to start using it, just don't use it with this guy.
Yeah, we should just put that one away, because we accidentally
Probably a good idea, yeah.
put it
Yeah.
on.
So now let's go talk sterilization when you do this at the end of the day, because now it sounds like your new procedure, you're going to be wiping it between. But let's go see how you're actually packaging this wherever your sterilization room is. You want me to just power this down?
Yeah, because we might move it back to the
Okay.
operator.
Cool. Yeah, it's all purged. So basically the next time you start it up is going to be like your morning startup.
First time.
Yep, go through all the motions. All right, where are we at? Yay, you have the M11. Okay, your life is so easy because you have the M11. Not everybody has them. It has a handpiece setting. And that handpiece setting is still with pouches, but that handpiece setting is correct for what we would tell you to program if you had a more manual autoclave. So just use that and then use it on handpieces only. So don't put it in with a bunch of other instruments. For one, your instruments need to go on instruments like pouches because they need to be a lot hotter for a lot longer and a lot more pressure in order to get them truly sterile. Your handpieces, they don't need as much. They're not as critical of an item, right? So therefore their setting is much less time, temperature, and pressure. Make sense? So that's why we always do handpieces by themselves. Let it do the full dry cycle. If you're doing it at the end of the night with other handpieces, they should come in the morning. You should be crispy, dry pouches, right? If we see that there's moisture in our pouch, that means our handpiece is wet. So if you're using a wet handpiece, you're potentially now getting water in places where it shouldn't be, where the O-rings usually stop it from getting. You might be putting on a handpiece that has water in it if you took it out of here wet. Make sense? So make sure it's nice and dry. And then just doing your pouches properly. I know you guys are experienced assistants, but I can't tell you how many people I've showed this and they're like, oh gosh. So make sure you're folding on the perforated line. That's a vent. It's not just a perf to make your life easier for folding. That is actually supposed to vent out during the dry cycle and make sure everything's able to vent out properly and get crispy dry by the morning. Make sense? So make sure you're folding it on that vent, even if you have room to fold it further, right? Sometimes the habit we get into is doing something like that. So make sure we're always folding the vent, even if it's a waste of a bag in terms of height, okay? Don't sterilize them together. Each one has their own pouch. Your little handpiece holders, you're touching them throughout the day as well. You can autoclave those at the end of the day, but give them their own little pouch. So that way everybody has their own pouch and we're not trying to potentially overheat the environment within one pouch.
Sterilize the tips with the handpiece together?
You can sterilize the tips, but not with the handpiece. Because your mirror, when the tip is in there, you're protecting any moisture from getting on it.
No, like different bags.
Oh, so you said with the handpiece. What do you mean?
I mean, in the
Clarify.
handpiece setting.
In the same.
Oh, gotcha. Yes. Yeah. Because the tips are, again, not that like super critical item. And especially if you're sterilizing them, because you're not sterilizing them to reuse them, remember? I didn't hear anything like that. But if you're sterilizing them from the factory because you want sterile tips, then yes, you could put them in on that same setting. Because they're just a fragile little glass tube. You don't want to put them on with the instruments either. Make sense? But yes, always check tips, especially if you're reusing, which you're not. I know you're not, so we're good. Cool? And that, I think, is now actually it. Unless you guys have questions.
Any questions? Got the maintenance part good.
Feel pretty good, but it's so easy, right? It's just those simple things. Just make sure you do them. Whenever you purge and prime, if you are going to eventually get another handpiece and start switching handpieces between patients again, you always purge or prime with a tip in. Because again, now we're talking about water getting involved. We want to make sure it doesn't get on the mirror. So the basic answer to when do I purge and prime, obviously there's times you purge and prime, but the better answer is always with a tip in. So if you're ever purging or priming, make sure the tip's still in there. Cool? And then you guys saw the little covers that the handpieces come with, like little caps. It's probably been a while since you used them, because you don't need to use them unless you're going to do that deep chemical soak that nobody does, that's in the manual to clean them. You're welcome to just wipe them down with the 99% alcohol, pouch them, and sterilize them. You don't have to do that. But the reason I say that out loud is because some people believe they need to put those plugs back in. Because when you first buy a new handpiece, you'll see it comes with 2 plugs.
The machine came from another office, so maybe.
Oh, they probably tossed it. I usually tell people just toss them. Because unless you're going to do that chemical soak, which a lot of us went away from any kind of chemical soaks, so we don't have to do all the monitoring and stuff that came with cold sterile and whatnot. So unless you're going to do that, you don't need them. And you don't want somebody accidentally putting